Hey there guys, my name is Beverly Reynolds, and as you probably already know, I am the owner and designer of H&T Design Media. In today's episode, I want to talk about rolling back time. You guys remember back to probably around the 1990s, honestly I didn't look up what year this movie was made, but you guys remember Back to the Future. There's a classic movie about time, Back to the Future. So, now let's talk about our own lives today. When it comes to running our own business, or maybe you're in the corporate space, time is of the essence. Now, think about a project. Maybe you have an assignment. Whatever that is that's in your life that's in and of the essence, it has a timeline or a time frame. You have got to deliver something within that time frame before that deadline hits. If you're a student, you probably have a class that you have to study for. I remember back into high school. Here's a little bit of a vulnerability from my own life. Probably not my proudest moment until the end. So stay tuned to the end of the story, and I've got perhaps a surprise ending for you. When I was in high school, I absolutely hated history class. You can probably relate. Maybe it's not history for you, maybe it's math, but whatever that subject is, it's probably something that you don't like. So I hated history. Yet, I had to take history in order to pass high school, and I had to pass history in order to pass high school. So, sometimes when you got things to do, you gotta figure out a way to do it. And you've gotta figure out a way to do it within the time that is allotted. Time. So, if we go back to that history class, it was an entire agonizing semester of a class I didn't like. The teacher was fantastic. In fact, Mr. Michael Lovelace, I hope that you are watching this video because it's not about my dislike for history, but I was honored by you as my teacher. You inspired me to go the extra mile, even when I procrastinated to pass the class until the very end of the class. Most of the semester, I had a C or a D in the class. It would fluctuate depending upon when I felt like using time to my advantage and actually studying. Now, fast forward that to the very end of the semester. I had a D, and it was a solid D in the class. My teacher had figured that I needed to get a 90% on the exam, the final exam, just to pass the class. Not my proudest moment. So I'm leaving myself a little bit vulnerable to you guys because I'm pretty sure that there's something in your life that's similar to this situation that you can relate. Perhaps not your proudest moment. I procrastinated and procrastinated and procrastinated. It's not that I didn't have the aptitude or the smarts or the intelligence to pass that class and do well in the class, in fact. I just hated the subject. It didn't interest me. And I used that as my excuse throughout several months. Now, as you got closer and closer to the final exam, our teacher had great study sessions both before and after school. This teacher was so inspiring. He was also a teacher that would allow us to come to his home and have Bible studies. What an incredible man for a bunch of high school students that were incredibly impressionable. Now, I remember I waited until, yes, you guessed it, the very last second to study for this exam. And I pressed the books hard. I studied. I made little diagrams in the margins of my books and notepads, and I went through so many notepads just trying to draw pictures for myself so that I could try and remember these, what I thought were completely useless tasks and facts and information. But yet it was so important to not only, take the exam, but get an A on the exam in a class that I had not previously gotten many, if any, A's. So this teacher worked with each and every single one of us. He had sessions like you would not believe. on a weekly and sometimes even daily basis as we got closer and closer to the final deadline of the final semester exam. Now, as I recall, I studied and I stayed up late and almost pulled all-nighters in high school for a class just so I could get a passing grade in a subject that did not interest me in the least bit. So the time came, of course, for me to take my exam. And I was writing in the margins, I was drawing all my pictures so that I could just kind of do a brain dump into that exam. And I remember the professor or the teacher looked at the exam, and of course, it was quite artistic. Hence my degree of graphic design later in life, but nonetheless, that exam proved that I had what it took to use time, even though at the very last second, I scored a 97% on the final exam. So, it proved that it wasn't that I couldn't do it, it proved that I could do something that I didn't want to do in the time that was allotted, when push came to shove, when my back was against the wall. So here's my challenge to you. I urge you to use, I urge you to use time to your advantage. Make sure that you're using the best example of every single moment that you have available to you. You never know when that time will slip away and you don't have that chance to get that 97 on that exam, to just pass that class, or just to meet that challenge that you have in your life, whatever that may be. So again, my challenge is to use the little bits of time to do whatever it is to meet your goals. Be sure that you set goals, set a time frame, and make sure that you're meeting that goal step by step by step by using time to your advantage. So at that, make today great, guys. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and see you guys soon.